Hello, I'm Pam Carruthers of Healing Stars, and this is a chart for the new moon, 30th of January 2014. This is the second new moon in January. The first was on the 1st in Capricorn. Now, the end of the month, the sun has moved into Aquarius. You can see that in this wonderful violet sector down here on this particular chart set for London. Now, this is a very significant new moon. It's always a seeding time, but notice the very strong red line. This is an opposition of Jupiter, retrograde in Cancer, right opposite Pluto in Capricorn. And very close by is Venus, the planet of love and relationships. And this, if you look at the news, notice what the stories are in the news is being reflected. The outer world reflects the inner world. Astrology's maxim is, as above, so below, as without, so within. And we're having a lot of stories at this time about abuse, sexual abuse of young girls. Venus is the young girl. Pluto is the unconscious energy, the god of the underworld. And in the mythology, Pluto seized Persephone, the young girl, and took him into his kingdom. So it's interesting that Venus, in this particular chart at the new moon, she's stationed. What that means is she's just about to move forward, which she does by the 31st. So Venus isn't captured by Pluto, albeit Venus is very, very close to Pluto. The other thing that's going on is that Mercury is right at the end of the sign of Aquarius. And through the month, or in fact in the next week, Mercury will go retrograde. We've had Venus going retrograde since 21st of December 2013, and now we're having Mercury going retrograde. In March, we'll have Mars going retrograde. So we are in a very interesting and quite rare season of 3 planets, all what we call personal planets, close to the sun, going retrograde. Back to the significance of this Jupiter opposition to Pluto. It's also starting the square to Uranus, it's triggering that, but the power play is important at this time. Jupiter is, after all, the king of the gods. Jupiter is known as positive when it goes through the sign of Cancer. And in mythology, Jupiter was Zeus, and Zeus was known for his philanderings with nymphs. And they frequently got pregnant. And what that is about is that Jupiter wants to propagate a race, a family, and that's what Cancer is assigned to do with family, children. But Pluto, his brother in mythology, is God, as I said, of the underworld, the unconscious. So through this time, and Venus is still within what we call orb as astrologers, still close to Pluto for the next 3 weeks, we are digging up and researching stuff from the past. The relationships for all of us are under a lot of stress at this time, simply because Mars is going through Libra, and Libra is Venus's sign, relationship sign. But the Capricorn energy is still very strong here, and that is about our authority. It's about us reclaiming our true power, which doesn't mean force. There's a big difference. I was alerted to David Hawkins' book called Power versus Force. And if you're interested, it's a very amazing concept that he comes up with. But what he says is vibration, that one person vibrating to the highest frequency, which is enlightenment, can counterbalance 70, 100,000 people vibrating under a very low frequency, which is fear and anger and hopelessness. So this is also Pisces in astrology, is the high frequency, and Mercury goes into Pisces on the 31st. Healing is also very predominant throughout this next 13 years, really, because Neptune is there and as is Chiron. The energy of this new moon is a lot of things are changing. Venus moving forward, Mercury changing sign, and then Mercury goes retrograde. Now, this is happening on the 6th of February. I'm going to show you that chart, move it forward. There it is. So the time will be 21:43 in the evening in London, GMT. And you can see that Mercury is now in Pisces, very close to Neptune. But soon, that Mercury, as it starts its retrograde cycle, and it will be retrograde right up until the end of February, on the 31st it goes direct, will travel back through Aquarius. And it actually will station and turn forward, interestingly enough, at the exact same degree where the Sun is on the 6th. Also, think back to around the 4th or 5th of January. That's when Mercury was last at 18 degrees of Aquarius. Whenever a planet moves retrograde, it's a time of review. It's a time of editing, a time of rethinking, reevaluating. It's a very positive time from that point of view, because when we go within, we can find answers. We're asked to slow down. Mercury is a fast-moving planet. It goes retrograde 3 times a year. It's not unusual. And most perceived wisdom is don't buy anything technological through that period. If you can help it, don't sign a contract unless you really read the small print. But that is not to say you put your life on hold. Computers, back them up. I have a spare hard drive. I have backup on the cloud. It's very important to do this. The worst thing that can ever happen, I think, for someone working in computers is if you lose all your data. The other thing, of course, security, passwords, hacking, all of this minefield that we have to cope with nowadays. And I have a link on my website to an incredibly good article about keeping your passwords safe, which I have adopted myself. But this time through February, as I said, of reassessing, reviewing, and Mercury is very good in the sign of Aquarius because Aquarius is an air sign. So it's happy there. It's like we can think straight. So take time, because Aquarius is also ruled traditionally by Saturn, the Lord of Time. So take time to go within, be with yourself, look for signs also. Notice conversations you might hear or emails you might receive through this next 3 weeks in February. Ideas can be manifest because Saturn is a planet to do with manifesting and creating something that lasts. Getting your foundations in good place. Creating order in your home and order in your mind. I wish you a good February, and the full moon is very significant. It actually happens, this full moon, right around Valentine's Day. So relationships, heart energy, owning your power from a true sense, not a sense of aggression, and going within. Those are the themes of this new moon. Contact me at my website, healingstars.com.